Peeps, let private companies decide who uses their platform. Same peeps. Government regulations needed for equal representation in hiring. Okay, so this is just a quick question for people just talking about the private companies, mostly in the United States of America or the world in general. But the United States of America is a place that has these freedoms mostly guaranteed just in the socio-political sphere and things like this. This is specifically when it comes to the current situation. Just recently, as I'm recording this, I don't know when I'm going to post this, but there was a situation where Google was apparently contacted by NBC, somebody at an NBC affiliate, talking about how there were some issues with, I think, Zero Hedge, a website, and the Federalist. And they were talking about, do you want this? Have you seen this on this site? And then you need to demonetize these people. Are you supporting this with your Google ads and things like that? Which with Google ads, when you have a website, you put it up there, you have Google ads there, you have a Google ads account, then every person that views it or clicks on it, you get a certain amount. And it could even be like a cent per person who sees the ad. They have ways of calculating this, but it adds up. If you have a site that has traffic where it's like 1 million people looking at it over a month or over a week, you're getting a lot of money from these, and a lot of these sites actually use this as an actual revenue stream. So that happens, and then Google actually goes and demonetizes these people and says, okay, you can't use this anymore. And the main reason, I think, was because they apparently had unmoderated comment sections. I'm the sort of guy that if I actually go to a site, I go to a location, and I actually see there's actually no actual comments, I'll sometimes actually just not even read the actual article or not even watch the video if the videos have comments that are turned off. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not watching this. I prefer that thing to sometimes going down. I was even thinking of doing a series where I just go down and just read just the comments alone. And you go to some of these sites, and there is some filth that's in that. Oh, that's a Bill Cosby thing. Can you really use Bill Cosby stuff anywhere right now? This all thing. Anyway, so that was before we knew this stuff about Bill Cosby. So going back to the point here. So the main question is with the private companies, and then people say, well, it's okay. Google should be allowed to do this. And then Zero Hedge and the Federalist should be responsible for moderating their actual content, their actual comments, because they can supposedly be, in this situation, they were being held responsible for things that people posted in the comments that came and used it. Yet Google, Facebook, and some of these other platforms say they are not necessarily into media creation. They're just a platform. So they can't be held responsible for what people post on there. For example, if you go post somebody's personal information on a Facebook page, and then somebody takes that information and goes and does harm to that person, if you do like a doxer or something, start a website and you post it and it shows up in a Google search engine with directions of how to get to this person's bank account and things like that, you can't hold Google accountable. You can't hold Facebook accountable. If somebody posts a news story that's inflammatory, that's libelous to somebody else on a website or on these social media platforms, you can't do that because they say we are not content creation. We are not responsible for the actual people using our actual content. Yet on the inverse, you have people saying, hey, it's a private company, so they should be able to decide whether or not they let people use it. So are they actually deciding the terms and conditions and things like that? If it's just like anyone can have this site, why would they say, okay, you have to have moderator, you have to do this? So anyway, if you believe in that way, and I'm not quite sure where I stand on this. I am more leaning towards private companies. Yes, let them actually do it. But if they have protections to not actually be liable for what people are posting on their platform, and then they go ahead and then they hold other sites liable for what people post on their platforms that are using their platform, there is a bit of hypocrisy there or something. But then further on, when it goes to people, I heard this. It was somebody, I think it was Juan. I was listening to a clip from The Five on Fox News, and he was going with that. He's more the supposed Democrat on that thing that's mostly Republicans. It's on Fox News. And then he's like, oh, well, it's a private company, so Google should be allowed to do that. The government shouldn't have to come in and make all these laws. And that is what people on the political right only say, on the conservative side, on the libertarian side. Especially the libertarians normally get a lot of gruff because they stick to it. They say, yeah, Google should be allowed to do this, but they have at least I've noticed the libertarians seem to have at least more consistency when it comes to this, because they say across the board. But when people on the political right are saying, oh, they're censoring conservatives, and it seems to be leaning more towards conservatives, so the government needs to step in and adjust this because they're pro-liberal. And then they'll go out and say, oh, but the government shouldn't come in and say, oh, we have to have these hiring things, affirmative action. We need to have equal representation for women. We need to do these incentives where we'll give money and government and government contracts to companies that reach these certain things. Yet people on the political left will say, oh, the left, Google should be allowed to censor those people. Why should they allow these people to spread this hate and these things we disagree with? But then on the inverse, they'll say the government needs to come in and incentivize and check and double check. Are these hiring practices actually correct? So where do you stand on this? And do you see the hypocrisy there? I think the general hypocrisy from the peeps that I'm talking about here, who say, on one hand, let private companies decide who uses their platform, and then on the other hand, they say the government, the public sector, needs to come in and regulate who private companies can hire to create and utilize and manage those very same platforms. There's clear hypocrisy there. But now when it comes to the private company itself, do you think there is a level of hypocrisy there? Like, let's say somebody says, okay, I built this mall, just the building itself. And then I say, in my building, if you come into my building and something's purchased, or let's even take this further. Like, this is not a club. I'm not playing music. I'm just here supplying locations for people to come and have their stores and sell their wares and do whatever they want with the locations they rent from me. So you can't actually come sue me if you come and your kid hears some music that they don't like and they trigger something, and you can't actually come sue me. I'm not accountable for that. I am dealing with just the people. And then somebody comes in and they play just gangster rap or something, or the 80s music. For some reason, somebody has some issue with some disco when they were a kid that triggers and the lights and all these things. And then I say, okay, no. These people, I'm not allowing these people in here because I'm holding these people accountable for their 80s music, 80s gangster rap. We say there's no gangster rap in the 80s. For the 80s / gangster rap mix, which is just flashing lights and disco with curse words and all this stuff. And then someone comes in and I'm like, okay, no, these people need to stop. Is there hypocrisy there? If I say I'm not responsible for music, then all of a sudden I say this person needs to am I changing the rules of the things like that Darth Vader clip from Robot Chicken where I'm like, oh, the rules have changed and you keep rules. So what is the situation there? Like, once I start actually making judgments on the music that people play in my actual location, does that now open me up to somebody else from the outside coming in and judging me for the music that's being played in the entire location, or for other things that I say I'm not responsible for? That I'm still trying to build a good analogy for what's going on in there. If you can think of a better one, please let me know. If I think of a better one, I might come back in the comment section and post it, or post it in a separate video, because I'm trying to get my mind around this, because I'm just seeing that they are opening themselves up to these things where they're saying, okay, we're not actually into this category of company where we're just a service provider, versus we are somebody who's actually a content creator. And then I'm, as you may know if you're on this channel, my stance toward the state is like, I don't think they really have a valid right to be doing these, but they have the monopoly in force, so they do these. So there's certain sections and certain laws and certain rules that if you do certain behavior as a company in this current system, that opens you up to certain categories of regulations and enforcement from the state. And it seems that some of these platforms may be actually dipping their toes into that pool. Okay, so that's it for now. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you taking your time to come listen to this. Let me know what you think about the hypocrisy in the different situations here. There's also links to a merchandise store where you can buy some merch there. And till next time, goodbye.